let me start by just discussing the pen tool briefly, why we might use it, how to get to it. It's right over here in your tools palette. You can also use the letter P for the pen tool. There's your keyboard shortcut. You'll notice that it's got some variations: the freeform pen tool, the add an anchor point tool, delete an anchor point tool, and convert a point tool. All those will be in your notes, well explained in writing, so I'm not going to do that here. I'm just basically going to show you how to use the pen tool and do this diagram so you can practice it at home on your own. So when you start with the pen tool, these little points right here, these squares in the diagram, those are where you're going to set your points. By a point, I mean a click. So when I take the pen tool and I click, it sets a point. When I click in a second spot, it sets a second point. And it draws a path from point 1 to point 2. If I draw a third point, it'll make a very sharp angle. And if I draw a fourth point, you see there's a little circle that appears. That indicates I'm enclosing the shape. If I were to go over here, that would disappear. But in here, now it's a shape that's enclosed. I can come into my direct selection tool and come over and click on any of these and move them around. I can even come over to my convert a point tool right here, convert point tool, click on those and turn them into curves, even turn them inside out if I want after the fact. I have found that it's generally easier to edit your shape after you finish making it than try and make edits from a few points before as you go along. That'll really kind of foul you up, I think. At least that was my experience. So finish your shape, even if it's not perfect, and then go in and edit it with the direct select tool. I'm going to delete that out. Okay, so you've seen that we can make curves and we can make sharp angles. How do we make a curve on the go without going to the convert a point tool? Okay, so I'm going to set a point. This time I'm going to click, but instead of clicking and releasing, I'm going to click, keep the mouse button down, and drag out handles. These little guys that I'm moving around here are handles. This is not part of the path. That's where the path ends right now. That's my point that was set. These handles I dragged out indicate direction. They also give me the ability to define how quickly this curve curves, how the angle of the curve will appear, how long the curve is, and the front handle here will tell me what direction Photoshop wants to shoot before I set my next point. So when I click over here, it's going to come down here and then move up to my next point. Okay? And again, I didn't let up on the mouse button. I'm just making another curve. So I'm kind of making a wiggly waggly curve there. If I come over here and do the same thing and want to change direction, I let up on my mouse button after I drag out my handles, and now I can change direction. In other words, instead of having it shoot down here with my next curve, I want it to come up like this, like these parts of the pear. Okay? So instead of being a convex curve, I want it to be a concave curve. Okay, so I want to hold down my Option on the Macintosh, Alt on the PC, and click on this little front handle, and now I can tell it, okay, I want you to curve shooting off in that direction before you come back to this next curve, and that's what it's going to do. The length of the handles and the angle of the handles is something you get used to doing, and that's why we are giving you the pear practice here. Okay? So I'm going to delete that out and show you how the pear works. What we're going to do, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see exactly how we're going to do this, is where I set my point. Now if I've got a handle here, I want to not let up on my mouse button again, but rather drag out a handle. I'm going to drag to the red point. There we go. And let up. Alright, so that means the next point is going to, Photoshop is going to curve it in this direction first before it goes to the point. And that's exactly what it does. I'm going to pull out on the handles, pull in the right direction. Now, I let up on my mouse button. But what's this orange gizmo here? That is an indication that we're changing directions. We're not going to curve out this way, instead we're curving out this way. So now I'm going to hold down my Option or Alt key again and pull that front handle. The Option or Alt key allows you to move your handles separately. So I could come in here if I wanted to adjust this point even, this curve. I could come in here and move that handle separately now, okay? Just by holding the Alt or the Option key down. So again, point C, I'm going to come in here, pull it out so it matches my handles, hold down the Option key and go to the orange point. Okay, back here, point D, pull to the red handle. You can see how I've lost like my curve a little bit here. I haven't been able to actually follow that exactly. That may be because I was just a little bit off with this handle here. So I could come in here and move that a little bit towards the center there. It also may be that I'm not quite in the center here. So you can use your right, left arrow keys to kind of center yourself in your points again, or move a point separately without having to use your mouse button at all. I'm going to come down here and adjust that back handle, front handle, and if I want to move the point again, I can use my up, down, right, left arrow keys, but I can also use my Control on the PC or Command button, and that allows me to move a point. So it's Alt or Option to move the handles, either handle to move them separately, Command or Control, depending on whether you're PC or Mac. Mac is Command, PC is Control. Then I can move my point itself. Okay? Now again, this one needs to be taken off in a separate direction because it is, there we go, Command or Control. I'm going to move that so it matches there much better. Just want to be a good example for you guys, so I'm going to try and get it to match those handles exactly. Okay? Back over here, this is where I click my point, and I'm going to pull those handles out to match there. Okay? Come in here. Oh, sorry, undo. I was clicking in the front handle point. I want to click in the square. There we go. That makes more sense right there. Now you can see that doesn't exactly come all the way down here. Option Alt. If I want it to come all the way down like that, I don't think, it's hard to determine where they want that point at this juncture, but I'm going to make it go down like that. Okay, click in the square, don't let up on the mouse button, drag out your handles until the curve matches the guide there. I'm coming over here, drag out. You can see if I'm matching the back curve, it doesn't exactly match the front handle. So if I want to do that, hold down the Option or Alt key, and there I go. It doesn't match the back one, but it's more important that it follows the outline than it matches the diagram. Okay? I am, by the way, to convert my pen tool temporarily into the hand tool so I can zoom around in my zoomed in Photoshop interface, I'm just holding down the space key. That temporarily moves me into the hand tool. Now I can zoom around like that. When I let up on the space bar, it automatically goes back. Okay, so now I'm going to come in here, look at the back handle, and I may zoom out just a bit to make sure that matches. It does. It's very good. Okay, again, Option or Alt, I'm just going to adjust that front handle so it stays on track. Over here, get that curve perfectly. Even if it's not quite matching my guide, I can use my Option or Alt to keep myself on track here. Now you notice when I clicked on that first point, it kind of fouled everything up there, but I've enclosed my shape. So I don't really want to go back and start adding things at this point. What I'm going to do is come in here with the Convert a Point tool, and that's going to give me my handles back again too. And now I can take and use my Alt or Option key and just drag that so it's in the correct guidelines. Okay? Now, where does the path show up? What is it good